as CBDCs or e-Hong Kongers. And if it would, then that would be under HKMA ruling. Whereas if it wasn't, it would be under SE ruling. So which way would it swing?
Totally. Stablecoin is probably under the HKMA ambit. HKMA did publish a consultation paper on the stablecoin as well. Made it very clear that they will issue a framework sometime next year to regulate the stablecoin. So they also made it pretty clear that they will first regulate the asset-backed stablecoin rather than algorithm-linked stablecoins, referring to Luna. So that will probably happen sometime next year. I think the great thing of that consultation conclusion was that HMA made it pretty clear that they want to establish this new framework. And then under the new framework, it is possible for non-banks, like non-central banks, to issue stablecoin. So they are looking into this space and to establish new rules, and then having satisfied those rules, it is possible for any entity, any organization to issue stable coins. Stable coins and the e-Hong Kong dollars, they are like separate. They would be like separately. They would be under separate umbrellas within the regulatory framework.
My question is leading to the fact that getting a corporate bank account in Hong Kong is sometimes very difficult, and they do tend to close the account when they don't understand the stablecoin inflow outflow. And if it goes so fast, like a couple million in 1 hour, they worry it's one of those AML issues.
Yes.
And if you're doing the on and off ramp for a stablecoin, then it should be under the purview of HKMA rather than SFC. So, like, that's the issue, right?
Yes, you're right. Yes, that is a very realistic, practical issue that is happening right now in Hong Kong, and also globally, not just Hong Kong, but right now, because in banking systems, there are automated checks on transaction value, transaction volume, and all that. So basically, a very quick inflow and outflow of funds will automatically suspend the account, like without any question. That is true. That is true. So that has been happening, and it is also true and known that worldwide, all the Web3 startups, like the number one issue that they're facing in terms of operation is the difficulty in having bank accounts. That is very, very true. What is happening in Hong Kong is that we see that indeed, like the banks in Hong Kong, we can see that like they are probably like at a very high level, they would be like, oh, like we welcome, like it's fine, like Web3 startups are like, we want more Web3 startups as our clients. But in terms of the actual execution, the frontline staff, it's a different story. It's a completely different story. Because for them, like especially in the last 5 years, there were so many fines in terms of compliance. So banking, I think that is a major change that is necessary in the banking industry in order for Web3 like to go on, like so that like we can have like Web3 startups that they can operate like without problem. So that will be a big part to be fixed. But it is also true that like this year, like Hong Kong MA, they had like talks and discussions and meetings with banks to make it clear to them like that they should like understand like Web3 startups that instead of like closing their account or not let them open account, that they should they should do better. So I'm also hoping, like since like Bobble, we're based in Hong Kong, and so we do have like it does take a lot of like time and effort to resolve our banking issues. So we will have to be we will have to like put in time and effort and be sometimes creative in tackling like day-to-day money transactions. So that is a real pain. I'm really hoping that, like, for example, like in FinTech Week or in more occasions where we can sort of the startup community or the industry can have like direct FaceTime with more like banking professionals and hope that things will change like slowly. But it takes time. It takes time. So it's an interesting time. So that would be yes. So in terms of the just checking. Okay. Just checking, I think just share like some of like observations as a business like operating in Hong Kong. I think the we like in Web3 we love to talk about going to the next billion users. We love to talk about that, and we want that to happen. And for many reasons, for many good reasons, I think time has come to a point where we will have to talk to many people outside the circle for this to happen. Like practically, like for banking and for all the related services that any startup would need, like Web3 or not Web3, that they would need. There is really very little understanding into Web3 right now, like even in Hong Kong. But the government making like announcements or like hosting conferences certainly help a little bit, as in like at least the bank managers they would have now heard that oh there is something called Web3, there is something called crypto asset. Still very difficult for them to understand. And for us operating on the ground, then we need to have a lot of like patience in explaining like at like one after another, like many rounds of like explaining what we do. So in Fobo, in our company, we have like mostly, I think 95% of the teammates, they are developers. So I'm just one of the very few people in the company that doesn't do like code and programming. And I think we do have a need to just everyone work harder on the communication as well. I think I certainly appreciate like events like today because like we have like a very clear presentation on trial chain and the reasons why we have to do things and the benefits of like why we have to do things. So if we have like occasions like this and more people participate, like more people that they can get to know a bit more about what's going on, then I think that will certainly help. In terms of the professionals, legal and banking and finance professionals, I think these professional bodies, they are also realizing that they have this need to understand. So now we see that like big fours, they are pretty, they are more proactive in participating in Web3 discussions. But the other, like apart from banking, the other real pain would be in the accounting. Like the crypto accounting is also a miserable battlefield. So even even for the accountants that they are keen to participate in like crypto accounting, it is just there is no rule yet. There's no universal like accepted rules, accounting principles that are all missing. So we are just at the early days, I think. So we will have to gradually get there for all these like different industries and professionals to come together for before we can even go to the next million users, like not talking about billions. So I think that is. But then in terms of Hong Kong, I remain like very optimistic, as in if we just look at like what's happening globally, we share the same pain. Like in the US, in Singapore, and elsewhere, I think we all face the same issues. But then I'm really hoping that I'm really counting on like Hong Kong as in the history of like having many different culture and different background, like people from different corners of the world coming together to do things together. I still think the city, like Hong Kong, has this ability to like to accommodate and to integrate like people from very different background and very different culture with very different skill set. So I think that would hopefully be like something that helps Hong Kong stand out in terms of like Web3 development. Questions?
Yeah. Thank you very much. That was very informative. Actually, I have a lot of trouble with my crypto and my regular bank accounts. It's pretty tough to get a loan nowadays. I mean, I probably have some coins. I can show that to my banker. I'm not gonna get a loan from it. I should, saying it's worth something, but unfortunately, I think there are ways to go. But definitely, we need people like her to boost up the legal framework in Hong Kong. So let's get Sherry's next, and she's a community leader for Noster. Noster has been a very popular protocol recently, so let's get her to start speaking. Of course, round of applause for Linda. It was like really awesome. It's hard to find like really good lawyers like her. So in Hong Kong, so probably less than a handful.
I think we were getting tired, but yeah.